What's up, everyone? Welcome to Apocalypse Movies. I am Jake Berlin, a fellow Apocalypsexer. This is our review of Office Christmas Party, the holiday comedy to be released just last weekend. Stars T.J. Miller, Jason Bateman, Jennifer Aniston, Olivia Munn. A little Kate McKinnon is in there as well, and a bunch of cast members who've been around the comedy circuit for a while. A couple SNL players and other small names who are in a bunch of comedies here and there that you'll recognize. Just a little backstory on the film. T.J. Miller plays a branch manager of his father's business. His father has just passed away. His sister, played by Jennifer Aniston, is now the interim CEO of the company, and she is looking to close their branch because it's not performing. Jason Bateman works under T.J. Miller. They pretty much work together. Basically, they come up with a plan to impress a buyer, played by Courtney B. Vance, about a deal to save their branch, and Jennifer Aniston's character has agreed to it, and the plan is a giant Christmas party, an office Christmas party, one that was supposed to be canceled but they have put back on, and the shenanigans begin from there. 2016 has kind of been an off and on year for comedies, and with Why Him coming out here in a few weeks, this coming out last weekend, it could be pretty good for comedy here in the last few weeks of 2016, and a couple holiday special comedies, if you will. Right off the bat, I had a ton of fun with this movie. I thought it was a good time. Obviously, not every movie is perfect. By no means, positives, negatives, things I didn't like, things I liked. But I had a good time, and a lot of that has to do with the cast. Regular comedy people like T.J. Miller, Jason Bateman, and then you bring in a couple newcomers like Olivia Munn, who isn't really in comedy here and there. She's a few small roles. She was obviously Psylocke in X-Men. You throw in Kate McKinnon in there, Jennifer Aniston, who's in the comedy movies, but also the kind of rom-com movies. A very different role for her. But like I said, I had a good time. I think it's worth the trip to the theater. A bunch of laughs. Especially the first 45 minutes or so. I thought it was really, really solid. So just, a couple positives. I thought, out of all the cast, and I'll get to Olivia Munn a little bit later, but T.J. Miller and Jason Bateman their chemistry together was really, really good. And I think that they're two very different kinds of actors. And, obviously Jason Bateman has been around for a very, very long time. He's done all kinds of roles. He's got Arrested Development. He's done Extract and The Switch and all these movies, Horrible Bosses that he's in. He's always great. He always brings it to the table as far as comedy goes. But T.J. Miller is very, very underrated. And he was in Deadpool earlier this year as Weasel. He's got Silicon Valley and HBO. I don't think a lot of people know who he is. I hope that this movie kind of lets them recognize his talent as far as comedy goes. It's a very specific kind of comedy, and it might not work for you, but I really enjoy it personally. I think he's just a total goofball on screen. I thought he was perfect for the role that was written. I really couldn't see anybody else playing it. I thought he really embodied it. He became this character or whatnot. I know it's a comedy, so you can't do that too much, but I thought he was really good. I thought Jason Bateman as well, and the two of them really work together. One of them don't come without the other in the movie. And I thought they were really solid together. From the get-go, you notice that they're really, really good friends. They run the business together. So that's definitely a plus. But the rest of the cast as well, like I said, Olivia Munn, I wasn't expecting a lot from her just because I haven't seen her in a comedy. And unfortunately, she wasn't great in X-Men Apocalypse, as Psylocke. And so I was like, okay, what am I going to get out of her? Does she have a big role? I saw that she was second on the cast list, which means that she's pretty much almost the first supporting character or co-lead in a way. And there's really 4 co-leads here. But Olivia Munn, she plays this really different role than we've ever seen her in. She's kind of this tech nerdy person who's creating some kind of ultimate Wi-Fi. And I thought she mainly plays against Jason Bateman. She's in the cast or the scenes a lot with a lot of different characters. But her main chemistry and connection is with Jason Bateman's character. Bateman's character just got divorced. He's got a bit of a crush on Olivia Munn's character. They've kind of had a thing in the past, all that kind of stuff. But I thought that she was really good, and she brought something different to the table. She had this really raunchy, dark humor to her almost. A couple lines in there that you'll notice as you watch the movie. But yeah, I thought she played really well off of T.J. Miller, Jason Bateman, and Jennifer Aniston. A very different kind of comedy. Brought something different. First time I've really liked her in a movie in a while, especially this big of a role. I've always liked her. Obviously, she's stunningly gorgeous and everything. She's dating, one of the best NFL quarterbacks. But as far as her acting career goes, it hasn't been probably as best as she wanted it to. May have found her notch. This kind of comedy may work for her. She can do stuff down the road and kind of develop. But I thought she was really, really strong. They placed her in the perfect kind of role. They gave her the right amount of lines and scenes, which is definitely a plus. And obviously, another plus with a comedy, you got to talk about the lines and the humor and everything. Like I said earlier, the first 45 minutes is just, I thought it was so good. I was so involved in the movie, and I just loved everything that was coming out. It's like I said, it's raunchy, it's dark, it's definitely meant to be R-rated, and there's stuff in there that you'll just like really, really laugh at. There's a couple lines in there in the beginning. But overall, it was just a fun movie. Everything was together. It switched about halfway through the movie, maybe 3/4 into a different kind of movie, and you kind of expected what was going to happen, which I'll get to later in my negatives. But the positives, they were overwhelming, and I really enjoyed it. The positives very much outweighed the negatives. That's a plus for me for sure. So like I said, I've been talking about, I'll get to the negatives, and I think the first thing I talk about the comedy is just some of it just didn't work. That's going to happen with every comedy. Not every comedy is going to hit every single line and, make you laugh within every second. There's rarely a movie like that. I think it kind of died towards the middle and then picked up a little bit at the end. It was struggling to kind of find its place as far as where it was going. You'll know, and there's a couple characters in there. I think Vanessa Bayer from SNL and Randall Park, they kind of have a thing in the movie. It did not work. It kind of took me out. So that storyline was kind of, so. It was a little bit of a bummer. I think they tried to work something in there, but it just didn't work as well for me. Rob Corddry, who I love, I think he's fantastic as a supporting comedy actor. Wasn't as best as I've seen him. Some of his lines, like he was just straightforward, and I think that's what they were trying to do. But some of it just didn't work, which is unfortunate. They have a whole lot of moving parts in this movie and a lot of different characters. And I think they tried to give every character their own little thing, and some of it just didn't work. And you'll see as you watch the movie, you probably know what I'm talking about. If you've already seen it, you probably already do know what I'm talking about. And then the last negative I want to talk about is the predictability. About halfway through the movie, I kind of knew what was going to happen. I will say that though, the very end, as far as Olivia Munn's character and her job, I guess you could say, I wasn't expecting that. It kind of got pushed in the back of my mind as I was watching it. So I wasn't really expecting that to happen, but it was a little bit predictable. Obviously, all these movies, you kind of know what's going to happen. Nobody's going to really die or anything. It's not an action movie or some emotional movie like that. It's a comedy. And there's going to be ups and downs, and everybody's going to come back up on top at the end. And that's kind of just what happens. But, as far as the overall film goes, I definitely recommend it. I think it's a good time. It's fun. It's funny. You're invested. You see a lot of different moving parts and characters in there. A lot of outrageous things going on at the Christmas party that'll probably never happen at some office Christmas party, especially downtown Chicago. So I definitely recommend Office Christmas Party. It's a fun time, and I'm going to give it a 10. I'm going to give it a 7. I'll go 7.5 out of 10. I think that it's one of the better comedies I've seen in a while, and I hope that it starts making money and it gets recognized. And I think T.J. Miller has a bright future in comedy. I think Olivia Munn does as well. They bring in new characters. They bring in some old actors and actresses that are used to this kind of stuff. So it's an exciting movie, and I definitely recommend it. So again, Office Christmas Party, 7.5 out of 10. Go check out this movie. It's a really, really good time, especially if you're looking for a good comedy over Christmas break or to go see with some friends. I don't recommend seeing it with family because there is some stuff in there you'd be like, whoa, I don't know if I want to see that with my parents or not. So I am Jake Berlin. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Qui-Gon Jake. Again, at Qui-Gon Jake. Make sure you check out our YouTube channel at Apocalypse Movies. We got movie news every week. goes up every Saturday. Padawan podcast every 2 weeks. It's our All Star Wars podcast, and we'll be diving into a bunch of stuff now that Rogue One's coming out here this weekend. So again, thank you for joining me. Until next time, see you later.